Now we will look into the second interactive methods, which are Joint Application Design (JAD). There are several procedures that you need to consider in JAD, including involvement and location. We will look in depth each procedures in the next slide. JAD is an alternative approach to interviewing users one by one. It allows the interviewer to gather user requirements in a form of group. The motivation was to cut the time and hence the cost required by interviews. It also creates more use identification with new systems as a result of the participative process. There are several conditions that support the use of JAD. First, users are restless and want something new. Second, the organizational culture support joint problem-solving behaviors. Third, analysts forecast an increase in the number of ideas using JAD. And the last one, users may be absent from their jobs for the length of time required. Usually, there are 8 to 12 participants that will involve in JAD, including first, executive sponsor, the person who will make a decisions. Second, information system analyst, the person who will develop logical models, specifications, and prototype. Third, users, the person who represent from multiple level of organizations. Fourth, session leader, the person who will organize, schedule, and guide JAD activities. Fifth, observers, the person who will watch and listen to the JAD session. And the last one, scribe, the person who will document the results of JAD session and ensure it is delivered as planned. Usually, the JAD meetings will be held outside the office for several days. The place environment should comfortable and less of distractions. The meetings need to schedule properly so all the participants can attend. Besides, the agenda of the meeting need to be focused to ensure the meeting is worth it and fruitful. Lastly, the orientation of the meeting is properly set up with significant equipment such as projector, whiteboard, and flip chart as shown in the slide. The JAD pro and cons as follows. Now we will look into the third interactive methods, which are questionnaires. There are several procedures that you need to consider in conducting questionnaires, including questions development, answer skills, designing, and administering questionnaires. Questionnaire is a set of printed or written questions with a choice of answers developed for the purpose of a survey. Questionnaire can consist of mixed open-ended questions and closed questions. It can be used to gather information from organization members about their attitudes, beliefs, behaviors, and characteristics. You need to aware of several procedures if you plan to use questionnaire for information gathering. First, choose terms of word carefully in order to avoid confusion. Second, the respondents should be scattered in order to avoid bias. Third, you should involve as many respondents as possible so you can claim that the finding represent the whole population. Fourth, you need to conduct a lot of research, especially when dealing with a totally new project. And lastly, finding from this method also can be used to support the finding found in the interview method. As I said previously, questionnaire can consist of both open-ended and closed questions. You can choose to use open-ended question if you plan to get opinion from the respondent, while closed question can be used if you plan to provide the options of answers to the respondents. There are pros and cons between using of open-ended and closed questions in questionnaire. In terms of completion, closed question faster than open-ended questions. Next, in terms of exploratory nature and in-depth, open-ended questions are higher than closed questions. Lastly, in terms of preparation and analysis, closed questions are difficult to prepare, but it is easy to analyze compared to open-ended questions. You also need to particular about the language that you are going to use in the questionnaire. The guideline of language usage as follows. Next, we will look into measurement scales that commonly used in the questionnaire. First are nominal scales, where we can use it to classify things and can be calculated. The second one is interval scales, where we can use it when the intervals are equal and there is no absolute zero. The example of each scales as follows. There are several common problems or errors might be occurred if we make the wrong choice of scales usage in questionnaire. First is leniency error caused by easy raters. For example, tendency of a manager to rate an employee higher than his actual performance. Second, central tendency errors occur when respondents rate everything as average. And the last one, halo effect, occurs when the impression formed in one question carries into the next question. For example, manager forms a positive impression of an employee skill in one area and then give high rating across all rating criteria. You need to consider several best practices during designing the questionnaires. First, provide enough space for the respondents to write their response, especially for open-ended questions. Next, make it easy for respondents to clearly mark their answers, especially for closed questions. Third, be consistent in style used, for example, type of font, size font, and spacing. Lastly, properly sort the questions in proper order. For example, most important questions or less sensitive questions should be at the first, and gather the similar question in one category or theme. Before administering questionnaires, you need to answer these two main questions. First, who in the organization should receive the questionnaire, and how should the questionnaire be administered? It is important to answer this question before administering questionnaire in order to avoid waste of your time, money, and energy to conduct again the questionnaire if the findings that you gain from conducting this questionnaire are not valid or reliable. There are several methods of conducting the questionnaires. First, gather all the respondents together at one time and one place if possible, so you can monitor them easily. Second, as a system analyst, it is better if you personally conduct the questionnaire since you can assist the respondents to answer the questionnaire and at the same time you can reduce number of error or mistake caused by a respondent. Third, you need to allow respondents to self-administer the questionnaire, especially if the questionnaire consists of sensitive questions need to be answered by the respondents. Lastly, you can use any platform to administer questionnaire, either through email, web, or face-to-face if possible. In the era of 4IR and digitalization, we encourage you all to use electronic questionnaires such as Google Form platform. Through this, you can reduce the cost of printing the questionnaire and ease of collecting and storing the result for future use. Last but not least, it is important to consider reliability and validity when you administering questionnaire since it will represent the quality of your finding. Reliability is about the consistency of a measure, while validity is about the accuracy of a measure. Thank you guys. See you in the next class. Bye bye.